Good evening, everybody. Firstly, I'd like to thank Lalit sir, our friend Silky. We now have an opportunity to be here at the gardens of Orodan. What we did is we traveled on bicycles from Delhi to Auroville and covered approximately 2,300 kilometers by road over 61 days. That was our goal, to cover this distance in exactly 2 months. The premise of this journey, as was decided by Deepa when she invited people to sign up for this yatra, was that there should be no money and no phone on either of us or anyone who is traveling on this journey. So with that and that introduction of this journey, we're going to give you a few more details as best we can within this limited time about the experiences that we had and the challenges that we faced and the magic that we experienced.
Namaste. I have been doing these journeys for a while now, and mostly they were really short, minimum 7 days, maximum 20 days. And this time, somehow I was invited to Auroville to live for 2-3 months by a friend. But I don't fly in the country because of carbon miles, and I didn't want to take the train because of Corona. And so I said, okay, there's a cycle, and yeah, we can just cycle. So my parents said, look at you. People are dying in the world, still thinking of travel. How selfish you are, come on. I said, no, this is a good opportunity to travel the country. So I thought it'd be good to have a co-traveler. So I wrote on Facebook, I am traveling from Delhi to Auroville early October. The creative constraints are that we will not be carrying any phone and money. And if this excites you, write to me. So a lot of people wrote to me, over 10. And they were all travelers, cyclists, but everybody wanted to carry their phone. So I said, okay, this trip you cannot come because this is strictly no phone. And amongst all those people who wrote to me, Calvin also wrote to me, and I've known him, I've met him twice in the last 10 years. And he wrote to me and he said, I'm keen, and I said, okay, come home. This is Delhi. I said, come home and we'll have a meeting. So he comes home, and so he asked me, I said, okay, ask me what questions do you have. He said, so how will food come on the trip? I said, I don't know, but it's going to come, don't worry. And he said, okay, where will we stay? I said, we'll stay somewhere. It's okay. So, and he said, and everything he asked me, I said, I don't know, but it's going to happen. So he says, you know nothing. I said, yeah, that's true. I know nothing. So he said, okay, I'll come. So he came on this trip.
I was stocked with my sleeping bag, which was required, and 2 pair clothes. I realized that we might need some peanuts along the way. So I had a handful of peanuts, a handful of chana, roasted chanas, some rock salt, and 2 nimbus, which we replenished every day because it was really hot. Amongst us, we shared a hand pump, and I also took a couple of spare tubes. I got myself a kit to repair the cycle whenever required. So eventually I had the puncture kit, the tools to take out the tube and repair just about anything on a cycle with a little kit.
This cycle that I have, I've had it for 2 years, and it came from a friend. It was lying in somebody's house, not being used, so they gave it to me. And then when the trip was being planned, I got saddlebags from somebody who was not using it. Then the bottle stand came from somebody who was not using it. The rack also came from somebody who was not using it. Everything that I have on the cycle was just coming being foraged from here and there, and it came so easily, and it felt like, okay, this trip is going to happen, I had 2 pair of clothes. One I wore when I cycled, one was in the bag which I changed into in the evening, and then washed the one I wore in the morning. So 2 pair of clothes, 1 thin jacket, 1 sleeping sheet, like a small, like a bed sheet, 1 sleeping bag, and some toiletries, very few, pencil, sharpener, 1 book, 1 book to read, and 1 diary. And because we didn't have a phone, 1 small camera, ancient looking, Nikon Coolpix, old camera, which we won't even like a point and shoot. And yeah, that's about it. That's all we had. Because the saddlebags are 15 liters each, hanging on both ends of the cycle, so you can't carry much. You can't have a heavy cycle.
Okay, as she spoke, I realized I missed out a few things. I also had a first aid kit that I carried along. It was not the perfect first aid kit. It lacked a few things which were gifted to us on the journey while we needed them. We both had helmets, safety helmets, which she only wore for her parents to see her going off. She never wore that again. I did because I found a hat on the way and it said Superman. So now I had a Superman cap and it would fly away if I didn't wear the safety helmet. So that stuck. And I also had a reflector, a neon reflector. You know, if someone sees you from far, they can figure out that you're not camouflaged in the distance. So these are the basic things that we had. Between the talk, we'll just throw in a few songs that are relevant to the talk. So I'm going to quickly play a song that I wrote. It's called Himalaya Yo. It's a song about traveling from the Himalayas in the north of India to the beaches in the south of India. Wait a bit, is this the way, is this you think? All of life, you've been waiting for this thing, this way or that way, which way and what way, happens as we go. Let's take a left, yo, take a right, yo, let's jump into the flow. Mysterious fools of the marching clan, we're jolly good friends with a Rasta man. He said, hey yo, we have to go to a chilly little place, Himalaya. Hey yo, we have to go to the sandy beaches of the southern coast. Look a bit, is this what you thought? Is that what this is? Take a chance, make a choice. In freedom we all rejoice. We don't need a bend. Life don't always make sense, yeah. We're just trying to find what's around the bend now. Mysterious fools of the marching line, Rasta man. He said, hey yo, we have to go to a chilly little place, Himalaya. Hey yo, have to go to the sandy beaches of the southern coast. The route that I saw was a route that went through the Agra Expressway. That's the Yamuna Expressway from Delhi, which is a 3-lane freeway with vehicles at 100 kilometers an hour. And we took that route to Agra. And just before Agra, after a couple of days of going up and down on that route, with all the farms harvested, so there was really no oxygen on the sides of us. We were on an elevated corridor highway that kept going above the underpasses, so we were practically going straight on concrete road. And we noticed the difference between concrete tar road and sand road much later. Concrete is not as good as tar road for cycling. So we were on concrete road for the first 4 days, and just before Agra, the bypass towards Gwalior comes, and we didn't make it to Agra, we bypassed towards Gwalior. We were then on a 2-lane highway with a lot of speeding trucks, but we found our corner on the road and we headed towards Gwalior and went onwards towards Jhansi. From Jhansi, we could have taken the highway straight down south, but we decided to detour towards an ancient temple city called Orchha. Just deviating from the highway into jungles was such a respite after riding on the highway, and we prefer service lanes, but we didn't get so many that were good roads. So we went to Orsha, we lived at a temple, spent the night at a temple there and visited many temples and went through the jungles and reconnected with the highway towards Nagpur. Started heading straight through, a bit of Rajasthan comes in with a city called Dholpur. Then you're back in UP and then you eventually get to Madhya Pradesh. Through the city of Nagpur, we went towards Hyderabad. To get to Hyderabad in Telangana, we went through Maharashtra. A lot of ghats, a lot of arid land, very hot. We couldn't ride through the afternoon. We had to stop from 1 to 3 and take rest. We're now deviating from the north-south corridor at Hyderabad. We go east towards the city of Ongole. Ongole is the east coast of India in Andhra Pradesh. A lot of downhill, so we're doing more than 40 kilometers. Average till Hyderabad of ours is 40 kilometers a day over 6 hours riding. From Hyderabad, we're going downhill more so. So we're pushing and now we're doing 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers. Downhill is helping. One day we did 80 kilometers. And we reach Ongole and then we cross into Tamil Nadu and now we can smell the ocean air. Let's make it to Chennai, rest at a friend's place for 3-4 days, eat wonderful food, do our laundry. And now we're only 150-200 kilometers from Auroville, so after that little break, we head out again on the road and within 4 days, we make it to Auroville. The roles that we played is something I'll quickly elaborate on and then it's over to her. So food and accommodation were her roles. My role was the route management, the time management. For example, why I say time management? On day 3, she found a nice tree to sit under and said, let's just stay here for tomorrow till tomorrow. And I said, no. 2300 kilometers means you have to do 40 kilometers daily to make it in 2 months. So then I had to push her out of there, but eventually we just did another 5 kilometers and found another random place to stay at. So I was managing route and time, and then as it turns out, I had a first aid kit and she was getting injured. So I became medic, also that was my role. I had a couple of things like bandage and Dettol and cotton. I didn't have betadine, but that someone just gifted it to us when she had a fall and we didn't have it, and he said, whatever you need, you hop on my bike. And that was medic, and she had no clue about how to maintain a cycle. So I was maintaining a cycle, fixing her brakes. I had so many punches, I was just continuously, because our cycles are very different. I have thin tires and she has fat tires for mountain riding. Good suspension, good shockers, I have no suspension. Thin tires, no grip. So a lot of picking into my tubes with those thorns coming in and whatnot, pieces of glass, random things. So I was just constantly taking out tire tubes and fixing punctures and stuff. Cycle maintenance, medic, and I had kitchen responsibilities. So on my cycle I had a little bag in the front, and in that rock salt, small jar. Because it's really hot and you don't want to get dehydrated, you know, in the sun. You don't know where the food is coming from. So the rock salt was there, ginger was there. We sliced a piece of ginger every day. She popped a piece, I popped a piece. No more ginger, lemon, honey days from Delhi. No boiling water in a kettle, nothing. What ginger does is it relaxes your muscles and also keeps your immunity boosted, which is especially a concern given COVID. And we had 2 lemons every day, so the kitchen always needed to have 2 lemons because you need lemonade in the morning with that rock salt to keep you going. There was a handful of peanuts and there was a handful of chana.
So every time people asked us how did food come, and so every time we were hungry, whenever I spot a food joint or even somebody's home, we would stop and he would wait at the side of the road, and I would wear my mask and I'll go and I'll tell them that we've come from Delhi, we are going to Madras, and we have chosen to not carry any phone and money. It's a yatra. And in India, yatra means like a pilgrimage. It's my request that if you can give us one roti, it will be great. If you can, and if you can't, it's okay. We'll ask from the next place that we would go to. So they would say, what do you mean 1 roti? We'll give you 10 rotis. Come, why are you saying 1? So then we would eat all 10. And I've never had so many rotis in my life. My mother will be really happy if she had seen me eat on the highway. We would eat so many rotis, lots of dal, and then we'll mostly eat at about 11, and then it's too hot to cycle. 12 to 3 we wouldn't cycle for the first month. And then we would just sleep at the dhaba, take a nap, and then wake up at 3 and somehow go forward. So how did accommodation come? Where did we sleep? How did it happen? So at 5:30, when the sun is setting, we can see it's going to set. We're going. That's when we stop, and we look on our left or right and see which road is going to which village, and just follow our gut and turn either left or right. We don't know how. How do we pick that village? We don't know. So we'll enter the village, and then we'll meet some people, whoever is there, mostly at a chai shop or at a center of the village, and we'll start talking. We'll say we've come from Delhi, we're going to Madras. Same story. Many times of the day I have to say it, so I'm like, and I don't mind it at all, because it's more of a cycling. It's not so much of a cycling trip than it's a social trip. You know, you have to be really, if you don't talk to people, no food comes, nothing will come. So you have to talk to people, and then we'll say we're doing this, and is there a small Anganwadi, school, panchayat house, temple, or somebody's house, or somebody's angan? Like, we've slept in places like this. I don't know how many places like this, because it's enough till we have a roof. We are okay. So somebody will say, so by the time we are talking, people are already, because news travels really fast in the village, faster than WhatsApp. And by the time we are talking, somebody's already figured out where we'll sleep, with which family will we eat. And then it's all sorted in 5-10 minutes, you know, it's really simple. And then we would, so if whatever is offered to us, we'll go there, we'll put our sleeping bags, and then we will find a hand pump. Then we'll find somebody who will lend us a bucket and a mug. Then we will wash our clothes, take a bath. He would usually bathe at the hand pump, and I would find a very big tree and then bathe behind it. So I've watered many trees in the country. And that's it. And by the time we're doing this, these are our only chores. Wash our clothes and take a bath. And by the time we do this, somebody has offered us an invitation for dinner. And then we go to their house, have dinner, chat, have the same conversation again, and then we sleep by 8:39, and then we wake up in the morning and do the same thing again. So top 3 places we slept at, you know, amongst 61 days. Top 3 places for me was, one was in a wedding resort, second was at the top of a construction site and in the middle of nowhere, and the third was in the middle of a tiger reserve in a small pine hut owned by probably the forest guard, but he wasn't there. So we just slept in that one night. And
definitely the forest pine hut. We were going through Satpura Tiger Reserve, and the highway has been remade to go through the Tiger Reserve, and we were at one of the top points in that. And it was getting dark, and we suddenly saw a pine hut on our left. We opened the pine hut. It had this little door made of logs, and it was just latched with a piece of metal wire. So we just took that off and looked inside, and I told her, hey, there are too many tigers here, I don't know if it's safe even to stay here. So she's like, no, we're going to stay here only. So then we looked inside, and we found kadhi and chawal made and ready, fresh. We found firewood, and we found a bed that was made of logs, okay, teda meda, up and down logs. It was like a pyre, you know. And she said, I want to sleep on the floor. I said, no, I want to sleep on the pyre. So then she said, okay, because we have one chatai, we have to share it. We got a chatai eventually. We should elaborate on what we got on the journey also. So we lit a fire, and the food was there, and we ate it. It was great. And we slept, and at 11 p.m, some guy is coming with a torch and saying, who's there, who's inside? And like, ew. Someone finally arrived. So we're scared. We're in the middle of a tiger reserve, you know. A lot of people say, how did you go through jungles and all? Was it safe from people or animals or whatever? And this is that point in our life where we're facing this, you know. We don't know who's at the door. Guy says, who's there? I said, hey, we're doing a cycle trip, and you know, we want to spend the night, and we'll just be off in the morning. And he's like, oh, okay, my forest officer is coming. That's why I quickly ran back here, and I need to make arrangements for him. So, okay. In walk 3 young guys who were super nice to us, and they said, thanks for eating our food. We ate out. Someone had to eat that. You're welcome to spend the night here and leave in the morning. And then they had the key to the building. They all slept there, and we were off. And they did show us some videos on their phone of tigers sitting in the middle of the road. So we got lucky. It's good we stopped. The construction site was at Adilabad was brilliant because Adilabad city was on our left on the highway and we decided to go straight, but we saw nothing, no villages, and then suddenly this construction site and some material being processed, and the manager said you can sleep anywhere in this building that is being constructed, and we picked the top. So we woke up to sunrise at the third floor and it was great. That was quite an exciting place to stay overnight. Third place I would pick Orcha. Orcha was, we stayed at a temple, and one of the 15 most ancient trees in the world was within our view while we slept at the temple. And it's really wide, it's from this pillar to this pillar, and you have to walk around it in a circle. And you have to take your shoes off, which is very interesting because nature is part of Indian culture, you know, you have to respect it. So these were one of many magical places, 3 of many magical places that we stayed at. I'm now going to cover quickly the rest days that we took, which were mostly in cities, but once in a village. So after 21 days, we stopped at an organic farm that was off the highway. I brought out my ukulele. I had a ukulele on the top of my cycle, and we played some songs. And our host was so strange. At 10 p.m. he felt like making chocolate cake. So in he went into his kitchen and out he came with a chocolate cake 15 minutes later. I don't know how he did it. So we ended up staying 3 nights there, and then again back on the road, rejuvenated, good food, plenty of sleep. At Nagpur, she's full of these awesome friends, right? She'd already made a list of them in every state. So Nagpur, we stayed at a bakery in the city of Nagpur. A friend has a bakery, and her bakery was churning out these healthy cookies. And we left her place 2 days later with a bag full of cookies for the road. And that was 2 days. After that, Secunderabad, another baker's place, and lots of more cookies and cakes and whatnot, and rest in a proper bedroom, attached bathroom and everything. So gave us good time to recuperate. Right after that, on the outskirts, the very next night out of Secunderabad, we were at my friend's farmhouse. Decided to spend a night there, but the cyclone came. The rains happened and the forecast said you're here for 3 days, so we said okay. So we had an extended stay there, you know. Then we move on, and of course the cyclone and making it to Chennai. At Chennai we stayed at a friend's place for 4 days. Again, brilliant South Indian food, dosas and gunpowder chutney, and a lot of eating. And in fact that was our first stop that we did, because our host, our friend, had invited his neighbors. And all of a sudden in the evening, we had 10 people in the living room, and we were all cracking jokes and sharing our story.
Our favorite moments in the trip, where we thought magic has happened, something has happened, which usually we don't get to experience. I'm going to share too. One day we were cycling, and it was, it was my first day of my periods, and I was thinking, okay, maybe today, wherever we sleep on the floor, I hope there's a bathroom close by. And you make these wishes, things you take for granted in the city. So we were cycling, and then it's 5:30, we stop, and it's my job to find accommodation. So I have 3 options in front of me. One is Corona Testing Hospital on the left. Then there is Corona Testing Doctors Residential apartments. And then opposite side of the road, just this much apart, there is a wedding resort, big one, like 25 acres and full of flowers, and getting ready for apparently a wedding in the coming days. So I first go to the Corona Testing Hospital. They look at me and they say no. And then I come out, and then I tell him that I'm going to go to this wedding resort. And this is like the first week of our trip, first or second week. And he said, who's going to let you stay here? Don't go here. I said, no, I feel this is going to work. So I go across, I go to the first, best thing is to befriend the security guard. If he is in, then everybody's in. So I went to him and I told him my full story. My name is this, and I've come from Delhi, and I have a friend. He's waiting outside with our cycles, and we're cycling. We don't have money, phone, and it's our 8th day, and we want a place to sleep. You think we can sleep here somewhere? He said, no, I'll call the boss. So it's 25 acres. The boss is on a scooter checking out his property. So he calls the boss. The boss comes on a scooter and he says, Aadhaar card hai? I said, हाँ है. He said, okay, and he tells the caretaker, whose name I don't remember now. He said, हाँ, give them room number 9. And then we take our cycles to this room number 9. It has a big bed, and it has duvet and a bathroom with taps, like a bucket and like hot water and a basin. And after like almost 10 days, we have and a big mirror. And it's like a lottery, you know, suddenly from nowhere to this, from nothing to this. So we call this Yatra Sab Kuch Milega. No matter what you say, you're going to get. Maybe in 2-3 days, but it'll come. So this was one. I was really amazed how accurate my wish was and how fast it was answered within like maybe 5 hours. And the second one for me was one day my cycle got punctured. It was getting punctured again and again, 2-3 times. And he was fixing it and again it was not working. So we found out that the tube has ruptured. So we need a new tube and we don't have a tube. And so we put the cycle on a truck for 10 kilometers. We get off and we drag our cycles to the town. And then again I go to a repair shop. I'm telling the same story again and again. And he says, you know what, we don't repair cycles, but we repair only motorcycles. And I said, okay. So I'm like looking around, where should I go next? And then he's next to me, but there's a man behind him. And the man taps him on his shoulder and he says, come with me. And on these trips you go when people call you. So we drag our cycles behind this man on a scooty. And he takes us to a cycle repair shop. And as soon as we reach, they take my cycle, they turn it upside down, they're changing the tube, all this stuff is happening, and he's telling me, have you told him we don't have money because all this is happening? And I said, okay, I'll tell him, just wait, I don't know when to tell him, there's no time. So as I'm wondering all this, when to tell him all this, before he says, here is the bill, we find out that this man is the cycle shop tycoon of the town. He owns all the cycle shops. So I go to him and I gently nod, tap, and I say, uncle, we are doing this, we're not carrying any money. He says, yeah, I don't want your money. I'm sent to help you. I saw you from a distance and I knew you guys were in trouble. So how do you explain that you're standing in the middle of the road, wondering what to do, and the cycle shop tycoon finds you? And this is stuff that you can't explain. And so then nothing, we watch as the cycles are getting repaired, his cycle is getting serviced, apples are coming, sugarcane juice is coming, and all this parties happening. And when we don't know how, we're just standing and watching this film, and we are in this film. So it's that's my favorite memory.
I think in Pachmadi, so after we left our friends' organic farm in MP, we're now heading towards Nagpur, and one of our friends in that circle says, I'll drop you to a certain point for all these days that you've lost chilling with me. I'll drop you ahead. And there comes a point when we're on the road and he says, this way is for you, this way is for Pachmadi hill station where I'm going. So then he says, you can come along if you like. So we go with him to Pachmadi, and we're in Pachmadi and hill station, and it's a little colder than I had prepared for. And we start looking for hotels, because our friend has some money. And then she calls a bird watcher friend of hers who does bird watching in MP, and he has a friend who has a hotel, and he calls him, and we get his number and call him, and he says, yes, I would love to host you. What an interesting story. You're cycling from Delhi, come please stay for 2 nights. And all of a sudden we enter a heritage hotel. Suddenly, after living on the road and on temples under sheds, we have like 3-star accommodation. There's someone serving us food and buffet, and there's a bonfire next to us. It's really chilly, and someone's lighting the fire, and we have nothing on us. And out of the blue, we have this amazing hotel to stay in for 2 nights. And right after that, knowing that right after that we're going to go back to dal roti or whatever it is, you realize that once you follow the flow of the universe, it doesn't matter what comes to you. It only matters that are you in the flow, and are you experiencing this loss of baggage in life, So that was quite an interesting magical time. I'm sure there are so many magical times that are skipping my mind right now, but that's one thing I can point out. Okay, so this is that point in the talk where I'm gonna sing a travel song for you guys, a song that I wrote, just to lighten things up a bit. very quickly.
The peacock today, I know just where my feathered friends all like to stay. Fields of green where streams are clean, they'll be all chilling today. Rocks and trees, the only walls in their way. Ain't rocking my boat on the dock of the bay, flew to the meadow by the very next day. Rastaman far I fly sometimes, it's true what they say. I found myself free again in many different ways. On a hill, stay a while, take my time, I wanna be still. Strawberry spills like fruity pills are food for the stray. I found myself out today like a spirit out to play, yeah. Rocking my boat on the dock of the bay, I flew to the meadow but I wear it next day. Rastaman far I fly sometimes, it's true what they say. Found myself free again in different ways.
Thank you.
So I want to share about one time when we just forgot to tell them that we didn't have money, and then they expected us after we got some air filled into my cycle, and it was 5 rupees. He really wanted it. We didn't have it, and then I told him that okay, and like he couldn't believe we didn't have money. But finally I told him, we really don't have money, but I can sing you a song. So then he just sat down nicely on his chair. He said, okay, now sing. So then I sang him Papa Kehte Hain, the only song that I could remember, in the middle of the highway. And he heard 4 lines and he said, okay, go. So that's one story that I had to share.
So this was our sleeping arrangement. First you put the chatai, then you put the mosquito net, you find 4 corners to tie it. And once we had 2 cycles on either side of the mosquito net for the 4 corners. 2 corners of one cycle on one end and 2 corners of the one cycle at one end, because you didn't find the pillars. So every night you tie that mosquito net and put the chatai, and every morning you wrap up that mosquito net and put the chatai.
Of course, first of all, congratulations, and very, very moving, extremely moving. To answer your question, yes, we do imagine ourselves participating when you tell us this story. There's no doubt about it. I'm sure that it should take either an audio visual or some kind of a presentation, probably if you can later in your life. My question is this, that in the Indian concept we have something called sthana, kala and patra. So sthana is space, kala is time, and unlike the Westerners we add a third angle, that is patra, that is the person. So you have come across some very extraordinary persons, those who are actually very ordinary people. Now you have finished the journey, the kala has gone, the space has also gone. Are the patras gone also, or will you keep up in some way contacts with them? Have you picked up their contacts, or you just have them in your heart and that's about all?
I'm in touch with a few of them. I have their numbers, and I was able to call actually many of them on New Year's, 1st January. I called plenty of them, and I have all the numbers of people we stayed, because in the evening we used to borrow a phone and SMS our parents that we are okay. because because no matter how brave the journeys we take, we have people back home who don't have to go through that same kind of bravery at home. So we SMSed once in 2 days. So we have a list of all the numbers, and I'm in touch with few of them whom I really deeply connected with, and their homes we want to go back to. And one of the houses that we stayed, last house, 61st day, 60th night, they are only 20 kilometers away. So we are going to hopefully visit them before we exit Auroville. So yeah, and many we remember as in spirit, maybe not faces and what they said and what they fed us, but in spirit we remember many. And of course there are some pictures we have which remind us continuously of the people we've met.
Thank you very much, and see you soon. Thank you so much.